The first book I'm reading for the Read It or Unhaul It challenge is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. And let me tell you, like, I'm 100 pages in and I have some thoughts. I definitely have some thoughts. I'm gonna get ready while I'll tell my thoughts because I have class in a couple hours and I have to get ready for that. And I just thought, you know, why not kill two birds with one stone? So yeah, the first 100 pages. I'm gonna try and make this as non-spoiler as possible because I don't like spoilers, so I don't want to give spoilers to anyone. So essentially the book is about this couple that is getting married. They're both like pretty well off and famous, you could say. So she is an editor in a magazine, I'm pretty sure, and he is some type of like the main character in some type of survival whatever. So they're getting married. They've known themselves they've known each other for a couple months and they're getting married. And they're getting married in this like island off the coast of Ireland. And yeah, basically that's the whole premise. And then someone dies and you have to like guess who killed that person. Basically it's like who done it, you know? So I don't know why I said I was gonna do this and I'm doing mascara. Let me finish my mascara and then I'll come back and we'll continue with my thoughts, okay? They are getting married and someone dies. As I said, you have to guess who done it because it's a who done it. And yeah, my thing with this book is, first of all, I'm only 100 pages in and I know I'm not gonna keep it. I'm even debating DNFing it because if I know I'm not gonna keep it, what's the point of me pushing through the whole book? Because I would be pushing to finish it just because I want to know the end. Like I can just skip till the end, you know, and just read the end and whatever, because I don't like the characters. I don't think there's anything likable about any of them. They're all annoying. I don't really enjoy how the book is written either. I don't know, there's a lot of things that I don't like about this and I'm kind of surprised because I thought I would love it, but I'm not loving it. I'm kind of actually dreading slash, I wouldn't say hating it, but I'm not enjoying it for sure. Also, another thing is in my opinion, that book should have trigger warnings and I haven't seen one. Not in the book and not from anyone. Well, have I seen anyone who's read it? I don't think so. But I haven't seen a trigger warning, and there should be trigger warnings, at least for self-harm and possibly for some ED. I'm not sure about that one, but definitely for self-harm. And talking about trigger warnings, I don't think I'm liking how these things are being dealt with or even talked about. And I don't know if it's just the author's point, you know, to make every single one of these characters unlikable. But yeah, if that's the whole point, then I guess she did a good job. But if not, yeah, they're insufferable. Another thing that's weird about the book, I don't know if this is a spoiler. To me, it's not a spoiler because it's in like the first 20 pages of the book, but maybe skip it if you don't want to know anything about it. But basically, Jules' best friend Chris, they both have like this weird flirty relationship in front of like everybody. Chris is married and Jules is about to get married, and they're like flirting before like not before, in front of their partners, which I don't get. I'm really confused about that, and nobody seems to like care or mind, or I don't know. It's just there's a lot of weird things that I don't know how I feel about them. So yeah, I don't know if I want to DNF the book here. I don't know if I just want to skip to the ending, because from some of the reviews I've seen, they all said like, well, the best part was the ending and blah blah blah, and others are like, well, the ending was good, but I felt like it was rushed. There's a lot of mixed feelings and comments about everything. So yeah, I don't even know if I want to just skip till the end, if I want to read the end, if I'm even interested enough, or if I even care enough to just skip to the ending. I don't know. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it like another 100 pages and like see if I like it, and if by page 200 I still hate it, then I'm gonna definitely DNF it, because what's the point of, you know, keeping what? If by page 200 I still like hate it, I'm just gonna DNF it, because what's the point of like trying to get through the book when I know I hate it? I'm not gonna keep it. So yeah, I feel like that is what I'm gonna do. And I thought I was gonna be done with my makeup by the time I was done rambling about this book, but I'm not, and this is how I look like, which is interesting to say the least. But yeah, on the next clip you'll probably see me with a full face, you know, looking a lot more put together, and with my final thoughts about this book. Well, not my final thoughts, but with a little update on whether I decide to continue with the book or just DNF it at the 200 pages mark. So yeah. Okay, so I'm finally back home. I feel like it's been ages, but it hasn't. I'm just being dramatic. But yeah, I'm finally back home now. I'm gonna have something to eat because I haven't eaten all day and I'm starving. I just have to wait for my brother to get out of the shower so we can eat together, because for some reason he decided he was gonna shower right now, and like he takes for fucking ever. But yeah, he takes forever to shower, so that's amazing. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I wanted to read, but I'm probably just gonna chill for the rest of the night, if I'm being honest. So yeah, we'll see how the rest of the day goes. Hey guys, so I wanted to give you guys a little update on what's been going on with my reading. The first thing I would like to say is that I think you're gonna be able to kind of see the light reflected on my glasses, and I'm really sorry about that, but there is kind of nothing I can do about that. I can take them off, but then I would be blind. So yeah, I'm sorry about the glare, if you can see it. I'm not sure. Then I have my water with me because I'm gonna be talking for a while, and it kind of matches my shirt, but yeah, I'm gonna be talking for a while, so I needed that. And now let's get started, you know. So first of all, I'll start with The Guest List by Lucy Foley. So as you guys know, this is the first book I was reading for my Read It or Unhaul It challenge. So I got 100 pages into the book, and let me tell you, it was rough for me personally. I love thrillers, like it's one of my favorite genres: thrillers, true crime, and romance. I know it's like a weird mix, but I love those three. Those are like my top three, you know. So yeah, I saw it was a thriller and I was like really excited, but the excitement was short-lived. So I'm not gonna go into the premise of the book because I'm pretty sure I already did that. So yeah, I got 100 pages in, and I used to use Goodreads, as a lot of people, I think a lot of people still use Goodreads. It became outdated for me, so I started using Storygraph a couple months ago. And let me tell you, I love Storygraph, first of all, but as I was reading the book, I was like, okay, there's no way I'm the only one who's feeling like this about the book, you know? So I went into Storygraph, I looked at the reviews, and majority of them were actually really, really good reviews, which I was confused because I was like I don't understand it. Like, if this much people love it, what am I not seeing, or what am I not reading to make me love it as much as all these people, you know? And then the couple bad reviews I saw were saying that the best part about the book was the end. Not the end as in the book was finally finished, but the end as in the ending. But then some other people were saying while the ending was good, it felt a little bit rushed. So this was about the 50-page mark, and then I was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna try and give it another 50 pages and see if I like it. By page 100 I was bored out of my mind. I was annoyed with every single character in that book. Like, well, everyone except for the 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 wedding planner. The wedding planner was the only one that I wasn't annoyed at, and it was because she literally had like 4 pages out of 100, because it's multi POV and every chapter is a different POV from a different character. So yeah, I was annoyed at every single one of them. They all felt flat, they felt boring, they felt annoying. They were, I would I would say, almost insufferable. There was not there was not one positive trait about any of them, and it was so hard to keep reading. And I was like, okay, while I want to read these books to know if I'm gonna keep them or not, because that's the whole point of Read It or Unhaul It. And as much as it is a challenge, it's not a punishment for me. I'm already in a reading slump, and I was hating the writing, I was hating the characters, I wasn't interested in the plot, because it's not like some super intriguing plot, something we've never seen before. It's literally a whodunit, you know? And I didn't care enough about the characters to care, one, if one of them were dead, and second of all, I didn't even care enough to find out who would have been the killer, you know? So I was like, yeah, as much as this is a challenge, it's not a punishment for me. And if by page 100 I decide I'm not gonna keep it because I don't like it, I'm not gonna punish myself and force myself to keep reading the book just for the sake of saying I finished the book. You know what I'm saying? So that was a DNF. And yeah, it wasn't a really good start. It's how I started with this series, you know? There's not much I can do about it. Now, the book I decided to go into next is, I wanted to give this a 180, okay? I hated the last book, so I wanted to go into something that I knew I was gonna love, and that was Daisy Jones. Why am I showing you this? Okay, so because I hated the last book, I wanted to go into something that I knew I was gonna love, and that was my reread of Daisy Jones and the Six. And oh my god, you guys, let me tell you, I'm only like 50 pages in, and I've been tabbing, and these are, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, but these are all the tabs I have in like 50 pages. I love this book so much. This book and I were like this. I love it so much. I love the characters. I love the writing, I love the format, like how it's written. I love everything about it. And I'm not into like, well, let me tell you guys about the book. If you guys don't know, Daisy Jones and the Six is a book based in the 1960s, 1970s, maybe 80s as well, I'm not sure. And it follows a rock band named Daisy Jones and the Six. And yeah, the way the book is written is, how do I explain this? So the whole book is written like it's an interview, so there's no narration in this book. And I feel like that's what makes the book so exciting and so different from every other book of that about this book, because you would be like, they're talking about one topic and you get like the different points of view from the same topic at the same time. I love that about this book. I don't want to go much more into that right now, but yeah, I'm loving it. I loved it the first time and I'm loving it right now as well. And what I wanted to go into was, well, before reading Daisy Jones and the Six, so my books are separated from the books I have already read and the books on my TBR, which I showed you guys in the last video. And I was like, okay, so I know what books I have to read, but from the books I've read, I have to take books out as well. So right now, these are the 5 books I'm gonna be unhauling, as well as the guest list. So we have my first copy of Daisy Jones and the Six, and if you guys love this copy, if you love this copy, I'm sorry, I absolutely hate it. I don't love this cover, but this is 100 times better. And I knew I wanted to reread this book and I wanted to annotate it, because the first time I read it, as you can see, there's no annotations. But I didn't want to have to keep this ugly cover for the rest of my life. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get another cover. That one is not the cover I wanted, but it's better than this one. So I feel like I'm just talking in circles right now. The next 2 books are part of a series, and the only reason why the 3rd book is not here is because first, I haven't read it, and second, my mom took it back to Spain. So I'm actually gonna unhaul it once I read it and once I'm back in Spain. But yeah, it's the first and second book of A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. I loved the first book. Maybe I'll keep the first book. Actually, no, why would I keep the first book of a trilogy? I loved the first book. This is a YA thriller series. Loved the first book, hated the second one. So I don't know, the first book felt organic, it felt good, it felt interesting. I loved the characters, I loved how the plot developed itself. And yeah, the second book just felt forced. Everything about it felt forced. I just felt like, you know, I don't know how to say it. I felt like the first book was supposed to be a standalone, and then because it was such a success, the writer Holly Black, then she gave us a second one and a third one. So essentially she made a trilogy based off a standalone, in my opinion, and you can really see that. Second book, I didn't like it at all. The only aspect I liked about the second book was the mixed media element that it has. But yeah, that was it. And I was really sad because I loved the first book. It was one of the first books I read once I got back to reading. I don't know if maybe that is the reason why I was so attached to, especially Peep. I was so attached to her, which Peep is the main character, if you don't know. Essentially, I'm sorry, I haven't said anything about the synopsis. In the first book, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, the main character, Pip, is kind of like reopening an old case and investigating everything again because they think this boy named Sal killed his girlfriend at the time, but she doesn't believe that. So she's like reinvestigating. And there's a lot of elements of mixed media in this book which are amazing, and they really make you get into the story and like care about the story and what is coming next. You know, I loved it. And she ends up investigating with Sal's brother, which I don't remember his name right now. Let me see if it's in the back of the second book. So in the second book, Pip and Sal's brother Ravi are investigating another murder, I think. I'm not sure. I that's how much I didn't care about this book. I don't even remember what was about. And it pains me because I loved the first one so much. This one was a 5-star for me. It was probably my first 5-star book, but it has to go. There's no point in me keeping the first book out of 3. The next books I'm unhauling are also part of a series, and is the Twisted Love slash Aims Twisted Games? No. Twisted series by Anna Huang. I have Twisted Love and Twisted Games, which are the 2 first books. I haven't read Twisted Hate, which is the 3rd book in this series. I did read Twisted Lies. I read that on Kindle Unlimited. I actually really enjoyed that one. But yeah, Twisted Love, it's about Alex and Ava. Alex is Ava's older brother's best friend, basically. And the only thing I remember about this book is the cringy singing scene at the end. That's all I have to say about this one. And for Twisted Games, this one is about Reese and Bridget. Reese is Bridget's bodyguard because she's a princess. Actually, I really enjoyed this book. But there's, like, the same as Good Girl's Guide to Murder, there's no reason for me to keep 1 book out of 4. I don't even own the other 2 books. I just owned these 2. And yeah, so I'm getting rid of 5 books. Well, I'm technically not getting rid of them, I'm donating them. But yeah, I'm unhauling 5 books and I've only read 1. Well, I DNF'd the first one I read. I'm gonna come back tomorrow with an update on Daisy Jones, and I'm so excited to keep reading that book. Like, you guys have no idea. I'm also like, I'm so excited, but I'm so scared at the same time because I'm only 50 pages in and I've already cried twice reading that book, and both times have to do with Camilla. I love her. I love Camilla. She's the best character out of all of them, in my opinion. And yeah, so that's all for right now. Hey guys, I decided to film a voiceover for this part of the vlog. First off, I'm playing Animal Crossing. I don't know why. It's been months since I've stepped foot in that island, but with the daylight savings, I'm just grabbing something cozy. And what I naturally gravitate towards, it's either Animal Crossing or what's the other one? Supermarket Simulator. I don't know why. Those are my 2 comfort games to play on my Switch. Then what you're gonna see is my new hyperfixation is this girl's channel name, like, she's named Rosie and her channel name is Roaming Wild Rosie, and I love her. I love how independent she is. I actually, like, I'm in awe of like everything she has done all by herself. And here I'm just journaling about my week because and this is all I'm gonna say about this because I want to keep yapping about Rosie. I love her. I aspire to be like her. I want to know her so bad. And I actually feel like me in like, I don't know, 30, 40 years, maybe not, maybe like 20 years, I want to be Rosie. I want to be living life the way Rosie is living life. Okay, let me just shut up. So here I'm just setting up my new week of my planner for my new week, and the stickers I'm using are either from the Coffee Monster Co. or they're from AliExpress. And I don't know what comes next. Oh yeah, next I wanted to show you guys my annotating supplies. So basically what I use is very basic. I just use some erasable Pilot highlighters, my Uniball one pen, Muji ruler, and then some stick tabs from, I'm pretty sure I got them off of Shein like a couple years ago. Um yeah, I think they're from Shein. And here is just a little clip of me annotating Daisy Jones and the Six, which is a book I love. I was breaking my spine, okay? I needed to break that spine in order for me to be able to annotate comfortably. As you can see, the pages just kept flipping back and it was so annoying. That's why I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna break the back. I need to break this back. Not the back, I'm gonna break the spine. Oh my god, I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, so I love Daisy Jones and the Six. I love Camilla. I love Rosie. I'm gonna leave her channel linked down below because she, like you guys, she deserves all the love, and you should watch her videos. She's so inspiring. Like, oh my god, I have nothing but good words to say about Rosie. She is the best. She deserves the world. She's so like, her channel is also super cozy. So if you wanna, if you wanna watch something cozy, I 100% recommend her. She's the best. Okay, I wanted to finish the vlog here, but first of all, I just wanna touch on a couple points and kind of recap. Yeah, I guess we can call it a recap. Yeah. So, I have notes on everything I want to say, so if I'm looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. So, first of all, I know that in one of my vlogs I mentioned that I was reading a book. I was reading a book called Yerma by Federico Garcia Lorca. This is a Spanish play and it's actually a reread for me. I had to read for school. I don't know at what point or what grade, but I do know that's why I own it because I had to read for school. I read it, I annotated it, and I ended up giving 3 stars. So, talking about stars, I was thinking that this would be a good opportunity to tell you guys what my rating system is and how I rate books or why I rate them the way that I do, you know? So, a 1 star read for me is a book where the writing is so bad, it's basically unreadable. It's not unreadable because if it was unreadable, I would have DNF'd the book, but it's almost unreadable. It's really bad. I would not recommend that to my worst enemy. That's how bad a 1 star is for me. Then we have 2 stars, which is a book where I don't like the plot, I don't like the characters, I don't like basically anything, but at least the writing, it's bearable. It's not the best writing in the world, but you can get through that writing, if you know what I mean. And then 3 stars for me is just an average book. There is nothing special about the book. The characters are great, the plot is great, but overall, the writing is great. But overall, it's just average for me. Now, a 4 star, that it's a book where I love the characters, I love the plot, I love the writing, I love everything about that book, but it just doesn't have that 5 star feeling for me. Because for me, a 5 star book, it has a feeling. And an example of a 5 star book for me would be Daisy Jones and the Six. Daisy Jones. Oh, first of all, I wanted to mention there are some trigger warnings with this book, especially for substance abuse. So if that's a trigger for you, don't read it. I don't think it's a book for everyone. So please look up the trigger warnings for this book because I'm pretty sure it has a couple. But yeah, going back to why it's a 5-star book for me, it's because the way Taylor Jenkins Reid wrote that book, the characters almost feel real. They feel like real people with real emotions. They feel more than just words on a page, if you know what I mean. And I have, like, I suffer with them, I laugh with them, I cry with them. A 5-star book for me is just a book that makes me feel, you know? So, for example, a 4-star, I can love it, but it doesn't necessarily make me feel, if you know what I mean. I don't know if what I just said makes sense, but that is like my reasoning for why I rate books the way that I rate them. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to talk about before closing the vlog for this week, because it's already a pretty long vlog and I don't want to make you guys suffer for any longer, is that um I was supposed to be uploading 2 videos a week. On Tuesdays, it was going to be a reading vlog, and then on Thursdays, it was going to be just a normal weekly vlog. Now, that didn't work, okay? Filming 2 vlogs at the same time, it's harder than it seems. It gets to a point where I don't like the footage. I don't know what is for what, and I have an external hard drive, which is where I store all my footage, but it's hard, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna alternate between reading vlogs and weekly vlogs. And I was thinking for my reading vlogs, I know I'm doing the read it or unhaul it challenge, but I was thinking about maybe incorporating other type of challenges to that. So for example, a 24-hour reading challenge. So I think that's what I'm gonna do for my next reading vlog, just to make it a little bit more interesting for you guys and for me as well. I'm gonna stop yapping now because I'm pretty sure you're bored of me already. This is all from me for this week, and I'll see you guys next week.